If you're waiting until late spring because it feels safer, you may be giving up leverage without realizing it. In many North Jersey markets, March can be stronger than May, and most homeowners miss that because they're focused on how the landscaping isn't yet in bloom, not how the market behaves. I'm Betty Russo, and this is Living the North Jersey Lifestyle. Here's the decision. Should you list early in spring or wait until late spring because it feels like the season is real at that point? My position is simple. Early spring often gives you more leverage. Late spring often gives you more competition. That's it. Let me narrow this down to three things: buyer urgency, inventory buildup, and momentum. First, buyer urgency. In March, the buyers who are out are serious. They've been watching since winter. They've lost out on something. They need to move before summer. They're not browsing for fun. When buyers are decisive, offers are stronger. By late April and May, the tone changes. Buyers have more options. They compare more. They hesitate more. When hesitation rises, leverage drops. Second, inventory buildup. March brings listings, but late spring brings more. More houses hit the market, more price comparisons, more side-by-side tours. When you list before inventory builds, you stand out more. When you list after it builds, you risk blending in. Blending in costs you negotiating power. Third, let's talk about momentum. The first few days matter. Energy matters. Attention matters. When you launch into a lighter market, momentum builds faster. When you launch into a heavier competition, momentum is sometimes harder to create. And once momentum slows, it's harder to rebuild. I remember standing in a kitchen with clients one early March. They wanted to wait until everything bloomed. The yard would look better. The photos would feel warmer. It made sense emotionally, but I told them if we waited 6 weeks, they wouldn't just have better flowers. They would have 5 more houses competing for the same buyers. So we listed in March. The landscaping, it wasn't perfect. The leverage was, though, multiple offers, strong terms, clean negotiation. The timing mattered more than the blooms. Here's another pattern I see. Late spring feels busy. Open houses, they're everywhere. New listings are popping up more often. It feels like you're entering the strongest window, but busy and strong are not the same thing. By the time the spring market is in full swing, buyers have options, and options slow decision-making. When buyers slow down, days on market increase. When days on market increase, buyers start asking, what's wrong? And once that question enters the conversation, your leverage shifts. That is the hidden cost of waiting. Now, can you sell successfully in late spring? Absolutely, but you're no longer early. You're inside the competition. That requires cleaner positioning and less room for error. If you're going to wait, you need to know you're trading early leverage for a fuller market. Here's how I think about this when I'm sitting with a homeowner, helping them decide. I'm not looking at the calendar first. I'm looking at demand intensity versus supply growth. Are serious buyers active? Is inventory still building? Where is the balance shifting? That lens matters more than whether the yard looks perfect. Because once supply outpaces urgency, you are negotiating from a different position, and the consequences are real. List into heavier competition and you risk longer days on market. Let momentum fade and you risk softer offers. Those are not emotional outcomes. They are structural ones. So what actually matters? Maybe launching when buyers are decisive, not when flowers cooperate. If you're debating March versus May, the real question isn't which month feels better. It's whether you want to list before supply builds or after. Early spring often gives you cleaner leverage. Late spring often gives you more comparison. You don't need perfection. You need positioning. Timing does matter, just not in the way most people assume. If you're weighing this decision right now, Focus on where leverage is forming, not where activity looks loudest. That clarity alone can change your outcome. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.